I think it's hard for people to get their head around understanding that we are actually going back to the moon and that this is a commercial enterprise and that commercial enterprises are partnering with our national security apparatus. And we have come to that age.
What NASA has effectively done, not just with our company, but with all of these vendors, is built a highway to cislunar space.
So everyone, we've got Jack Two Fish Fisher with us today of Intuitive Machines, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about the America's Future Series events in April, about himself and his background a little bit and his own company, and then also telling us a little bit about why he's involved in the Space Innovation Summit.
Grew up flying airplanes in the Air Force, then a test pilot for a while, flew all sorts of different types of airplanes, up to and including the F-22. Then I went to the Pentagon for a bit and then came to NASA as an astronaut. So I served 9 years here in Houston as an astronaut, got to fly to the International Space Station and live aboard the space station for about 5 months. And then I decided to go back to Air Force Space Command and help as much as I could stand up the Space Force. I ended my time there as the vice commander at Schriever Air Force Base before retiring and coming back to Houston. Right now, I'm working at Intuitive Machines as the VP of Strategic Programs, and I am crazy excited about how awesome 2021 is going to be as we start taking some real concrete steps back into the heavens. So it's going to be a good year. Civil, commercial, and military space right now are growing like gangbusters. And what we want to do is try to leverage investments across all three, and leverage particularly in regards to space hardware, the shared infrastructure that we have here in Houston. We have so many companies that have unique facilities you would need for developing space hardware, as well as Johnson Space Center, which has obviously a wide array of test and production facilities. In partnership with the Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership, BAHEP, they have an agreement, a Space Act agreement with NASA to be able to schedule those unique resources and get people in quickly as a fee for service. So, if I'm a brand new entrepreneur that wants to start a space hardware company, normally I would have to go through the very onerous process of getting my own test facilities. They're really expensive. They take a long time to get. Or I can go to TechSpace, which BAHEP will run, and click a few buttons and sign up, and within a week be at Johnson Space Center using some of their facilities. So it's really, how can we pool the investments, the infrastructure, and the innovation in an area like Houston that has so much to offer? I think that there are a lot of centers of innovation around the country. Obviously, they have specialties. Ours is, I think, going to be aerospace. And with our spaceport here at Ellington Field in Houston, we offer the opportunity to have that unique shared infrastructure in the middle of a huge and awesome town. And we have, really good barbecue and really good Mexican food. So it's the best of all worlds.
So if you would, it seems to me you might talk a little bit about collaboration and how you're collaborating with others, and how this event on the 6th and the 7th of April, the Space Innovation Summit, how you've helped bring together a number of people from around the country, not just from the Bay Area and from Texas. If you could speak to that a little bit, that'd be great.
You bet. So there's three primary panels that I've been trying to help with. One is focused on national security space and having those individuals and that community leverage the investment, like I said, of civil and commercial. And a great example is the NASA Commercial Lunar Payload Service Program. So we've all seen recently SpaceX go into the space station on their own vehicle. That was part of the Commercial Crew Program. That was its predecessor was the Commercial Cargo Resupply Program. And those really did build a foundation of capability, commercial capability within the United States for us to get to low Earth orbit. Well, the CLPS program, the Lunar Payload Service Program, is allowing us to do the same thing in cislunar space. So that's out there, going to the moon. And what we want to do is try to leverage that investment as well as a parallel and aligned business case to make money from the resources and the domain awareness in that area across civil, commercial, and national security space. That is the focus of that first panel, primarily having military leaders and some leaders from NASA talk through how we can best leverage that investment. Immediately following that will be a discussion where we have experts from the wide range of financing options that are available to the space community right now. Space is hot. Space is sexy. In 2020 and 2021, it's just going to get even more so.
This event is basically almost 16 hours of programming with dozens of speakers and on multiple topics. And it seems that it's there, like we've said here, there's something for everyone. If there was any particular group, who would you recommend? What kind of groups would you recommend tune in and join us for that, especially the second day that you're leading?
National security space. Folks within the Space Force, the NRO, the NGA, government space. I think the chasm is largest between them and NASA commercial. We have programs like the Small Business Innovative Research Grants, SBIRs. There is a gap of companies that have capability, which are much more mature and can have immediate effect, that there is a gap. We've my company right now at Intuitive Machines, I was just watching a video this morning of Elon Musk's 2021 predictions. If you go about 3 minutes in, prediction number 3 is us getting back to the moon. We are going to the moon at the end of this year with the first commercial lander ever, and the first lander from our country on the moon since 1972 when Gene Cernan took off and left with Erich and Schmidt. So it's a big deal. And in doing so, we are going to have capacity on that rocket, and we'll have it again in 2022 that the Space Force or someone else could use at a very discounted rate to get to cislunar orbit. And we are one of 14 vendors in the CLPS program. So what NASA has effectively done, not just with our company, but with all of these vendors, is built a highway to cislunar space. You just got to get on. And so I think that priority for me is, and in this is to have national security space folks tune in and listen, gain an understanding of what's available for national security space, how they can leverage these investments from civil and commercial, understand the financing structure across the board, how you can grow things quickly and not just depend on government contracts to get capability. There are other ways, as long as it's aligned in some way with a business case, you're going to get money, because space, remember, is sexy. Understanding the innovation hubs and how to leverage them most effectively. Let's take a step back and understand what part of the innovation spectrum that they are focused on, and see that there are other innovation hubs around the United States, and they're growing fast, that you can get more capability elsewhere in the spectrum.
I think it's hard for people to get their head around. I know I have trouble with this, understanding that we are actually going back to the moon and that this is a commercial enterprise and that commercial enterprises are partnering with our national security apparatus, with our Defense Department, et cetera. And we have come to that age. That age is now happening. And kids like me who grew up, being science fiction fans, et cetera, we envisioned a world where that would happen. And I'm sorry to be corny, but the future is now. It's actually happening. We are living in a space age.